first pick tonight is an unlikely hero to people many, many years younger than he. He's a leading candidate for the Democratic nomination, and he's doing it all without a super PAC or a comb. Please welcome the senator from Vermont, Bernie Sanders.
My pleasure.
I appreciate you being here. Did you, they still love you. Were you at all worried that the enthusiasm would not be there the second time around?
No.
You were not. Did you watch the Mueller testimony yesterday?
I was in a plane, but I read it.
You read the whole thing, yeah.
Well, not the whole thing, but some of it.
You know what happened,
yeah.
And it probably happened as you expected it. I wonder if you looked at any of that and wished that you had been there in that spot, because you really, I feel like you would have sold that report. You know, it's one thing to write it, and it's another thing to perform.
Well, I think the bottom line is the message from Mueller is that the Russians intervened in the campaign in 2016. They are still intervening, and we've got to stop that. Whatever your political view is, you want to make sure that the election in the United States is controlled by the people of this country, not the Russians or anybody else.
That seems very obvious, and it seems like something that would be embraced by both parties, but it can't even get a vote in the Senate.
That's right.
The Republicans have stopped it.
We got an incredibly
twice today, I think.
That's right. We got an incredibly do-nothing Senate, which seems to be spending all of their time worrying about the wealthy and the powerful and ignoring the important issues facing this country.
Why won't
we can't even get? Let me give you just one example.
Go ahead. Yeah.
You know, we cannot even get a serious discussion about the existential threat to this planet of climate change. No discussion at all. Because
Which
these
is crazy.
guys, and I will tell you why. I will tell you why. And it is because these guys are owned by the fossil fuel industry, which is more concerned about their short-term profits than the future of this planet. And that's the simple truth of it.
Can't we just outspend the fossil fuel people if it's a money issue? I mean,
No, you can't.
Because
they have and look, the fossil fuel industry makes tens of billions of dollars a year. You got people like the Koch brothers who have already contributed hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars to the political process. But it's not just them. You got Wall Street putting in huge amounts of money into the political process. You got the drug companies who charge us the highest prices in the world. You got the insurance companies. You got the military-industrial complex. And in fact, you know, Jimmy, what our campaign is about really is saying that we need a political revolution in this country, where instead of having a government run by these large multinational corporations and the 1%, maybe, just maybe, we may want a government and an economy that works for all of us and not just them.
It does seem so crazy that, you know, we have a list of things to worry about, but if the climate on this planet, it makes it uninhabitable for other human beings, none of the stuff on the list matters.
You're right. I mean, you're right. And as you know, what the scientists are telling us, we have less than 12 years to act boldly in transforming our energy system away from fossil fuel to energy efficiency and sustainable energy, or else there will be irreparable damage done to this country and the rest of the world. And yet you got these people at the fossil fuel industry who are much more concerned about their short-term profits than the future of this planet.
Which is nuts, because they have to live on this planet,
Their
too.
grandchildren are going to have to live on this planet. But at the end of the day, frankly, it is not just the fossil fuel industry. It is Wall Street, whose greed has done irreparable harm to this country. It is all of these powerful special interests whose just greed is destroying the working class of this country. You know, we have a situation in America today where you got three people. We don't talk about this in Congress. We don't talk about it in the media. You got three people who own more wealth than the bottom half of the American people. You got the top 1% owning more wealth than the bottom 92%. And yet we are the only major country on earth not to guarantee health care to all people as a right. And by the way, thank you very much for the work you've done in making sure that health care is accessible.
Again, it seems obvious that we should make sure people have health care coverage.
It is obvious to you, it is obvious to me, it is obvious to most people. Yet we have then got to ask ourselves why it is that we are the only major country on earth not to guarantee health care to all people, why over 80 million people are uninsured or underinsured, why 1 out of 5 Americans cannot afford the medicine that they need because the price of prescription drugs is so high. Why is that? Why is that? And the answer is, it gets back to the power and the greed of these major multinational corporations who could care less about working people. I know this is not an issue we talk about much, but it is an issue finally as a nation that we're going to have to deal with.
Yeah, and it is an issue that most of the citizens of this country agree on, and when they're not being bamboozled, then they think about it, they think about their neighbors and their family members. They say, yeah, I do want to have coverage for my children until they're 26 years old. Your proposal, and correct me if I have any of this wrong, Medicare for all, with one thing that makes it different from some of your fellow candidates is that you want to do away with private insurance altogether.
Yes.
Now, I worry that twist makes it an impossible sell for people.
No, I don't think so. I think it is exactly what the American people want, and polling suggests that. Here is the bottom line. At the end of the day, we have to make a decision. Do we have a healthcare system, as exists virtually in every other major country, whose major function is to provide quality care to all people as a right? Or do we continue with the system we have right now, which is designed to do what? Everybody knows what it is. What is the function of the insurance companies? It's to make as much money as they can. What is the function of the drug companies? Last year, the top 10 drug companies made $69 billion in profit, and they're charging us 10 times more than the Canadians for insulin that people in this country need. And ultimately, we have to make that determination. Do we expand Medicare, which is a good and popular program for seniors, to all people, or do we continue a dysfunctional and expensive system designed to make billions for the healthcare industry?
You are taking a busload of people with diabetes.
That's correct.
To Canada. For what reason? Is it for
to
fun?
Expose to the world. Mm-hmm. No, it is. It's fun to go. I live near Canada. It's a fun place to go. But this trip is not. What this trip is about is to expose the insanity of people in America being forced to pay 10 times more for insulin as our neighbors in Canada. And that has everything to do with the greed of the pharmaceutical industry. It has everything to do with the fact that we are the only major country not to negotiate prices with the drug companies. They could double or triple the price of medicine tomorrow. There's no law to stop them. And you know why? Because they have made hundreds of millions of dollars in campaign contributions, billions of dollars in lobbying, and the Congress does what they want, not what the American people want. So we're going to expose them if elected president, and if we pass Medicare for all. Nobody in this country will pay more than $200 for the prescription drugs they need, and we will substantially lower the cost of medicine in this country for everybody.
Senator Bernie Sanders is here. We'll be right back. Senator Sanders, I think the most important thing, we talked about a lot of important things, but most importantly, what are you going to do to help A$AP Rocky get out of Sweden?
Not much for the moment.
Not much right now. Cardi B is one of your supporters.
Cardi B is.
Yes. Do you know her?
I know her.
Yeah.
You know, we have talked on the phone on several occasions. She is really smart, and she is deeply concerned about what's happening.
She does seem to be concerned, doesn't she?
Yes.
Which is, it's a little bit surprising,
yes,
maybe.
Yeah. But, you know, that's the truth. She comes from a humble background, and she knows what it's like to live in poverty.
To struggle, yeah.
To struggle, and she wants to make sure that we can improve life for working people in this country, and I'm delighted that she is a supporter.
Have you ever been on Etsy, the website? Okay, so this is a craft website where people make things and then they sell them. And a lot of the things they make are about you. Are like you're on like 5,000 products, none of which you're profiting from, I'm sure. And these are real things. These are not things we made up as a joke. These are like, this is, I don't know what's happening here, but you seem to be on an all-Bernie volleyball team playing with the moon. There's a, I guess people are kind of tickled with the idea of you and Beto running together. There's a Back to the Future parody with the two of you. This is a good one. This is just a Bernie Sanders, I guess. You've probably seen that logo before.
You know what that's about, Jimmy?
What's that about?
That's about a bird that landed on a podium. I think we were in Portland, and out of nowhere, this little bird ends up on the podium and just is there. So some people thought this was a spiritual thing, you know?
Right, yeah.
A heavenly...
Speaking of spiritual things, they've got... There's a candle that's Saint, although they should have gone with Saint Bernard there. And I don't know what this is exactly, but I'd love to see you in it. Well, I'm going to give this one to your wife as a little take-home item. So you're getting cheated out of a lot of money there. You know, Trump wouldn't let that happen. He'd get a cut of all of that.
No doubt, no doubt.
Do you relish in the idea of debating Donald Trump?
Not only debating him, but defeating him. He is the most dangerous. Look, you know, I have Republican friends who I disagree with. But what Trump is trying to do is unprecedented and extremely ugly. He is trying to divide our country up based on the color of our skin or where we came from or our religion or our sexual orientation. And that is not what a president of the United States should do. And it will give me great pleasure to defeat this president and create a government of compassion and of love rather than just of hatred and divisiveness.
Yeah. Your slogan, put the slogan up because your slogan does seem to be a shot at Donald Trump. It's not me, us. That is your campaign slogan. Now, let me ask, just a quick question. Is it smart to put the words not me in your campaign for president? If the us gets in the corner of the T-shirt or something, it's not necessarily a wise idea.
Well, what it means is two things. It means, Jimmy, that we are all in this together, and that what a president of the United States has got to be about is not only bringing people together, but understand that your family has got to be concerned about her family. We've got to be concerned about each other. And the second point of that is that the only way we take on powerful special interests is when millions of people stand up and say enough is enough, that the 1% cannot have it all, that we need a country that belongs and a government that works for everybody. And president...
we need to wake up. We need to wake up and get our heads out of our telephones.
Right. Anybody who thinks, you know, that it's time to give up in despair and just not get involved, this is not that moment. You know, we are a democracy, although Trump is trying to undermine that. And what a democracy means is that the future of this country rests in your hands, and the hands of hundreds of millions of people. We cannot sit this one out. The future of the country is at stake. The future of the planet is at stake. We got to stand up. We got to fight back.
Next week, you will be a part of a debate. There are a lot of people running for the nomination. You will be debating. You'll be on stage with Elizabeth Warren, your friend. Is it productive for Democrats to be going after each other in the way that, for instance, Senator Harris went after Joe Biden?
Well, look, you know, a campaign is about differences of ideas. And I think there is nothing wrong with us talking about our vision for the future, what our record is, how it differs from somebody else. That's called politics. What is not acceptable are ugly personal attacks and trying to destroy people's character. That is not acceptable. So I hope that what the debate will be and what the campaign will be about is about discussing the very serious issues facing the American people, whether it is climate change, whether it is, 45 million Americans dealing with student debt, whether it is the fact that we are the only country not to guarantee health care to all people. These are issues that need serious discussion. People may disagree. Let's have that discussion, but let's not get into personal attacks.
Senator Bernie Sanders, everyone. Thank you for being here, Senator. Hi, I'm Jimmy Kimmel. I hope you enjoyed that video. Hit subscribe and all your dreams will come true, assuming your dreams are to watch more YouTube videos.